The following is a special presentation of the First Horizon Green Sports Zone. This is the Pizza Inn Eddie Spradlen Show.
Welcome back to First Horizon's Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Pizza Inn Eddie Spradlen Show, where we cover everything on the turf inside a beautiful Burley Stadium with the Green Devils football team. We'll recap this past week's big 28-21 win over Anderson County in the quarterfinals of the Class 4A playoffs to advance to the semifinals with the 10-time defending Class 3A state champion Alcoa Tornadoes. We'll cover that here in just a second, right after this quick break here on First Horizon's Green Sports Zone.
The Pizza Inn Eddie Spradlen Show is brought to you by Gateway Ford Nissan, Tommy's Plumbing, by Pizza Inn, and by First Horizon Bank.
Here's a twist on your typical banking options. What if instead of choosing between a big bank or a small bank, you had one bank that's the best of both? That's First Horizon. Big bank muscle with small bank hustle. Big bank convenience and small bank connection. When the best of big meets the best of small, you get it all. To help you on the road to your horizon. First Horizon Bank.
Welcome back to First Horizon's Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Pizza Inn Eddie Spradlen Show, where we cover everything inside a beautiful Burley Stadium with the Green Devil football team. As always, I'm joined here with Greene Devils head coach Eddie Spradlen. Coach, how you doing?
Good, really good that we're here sitting here on this Tuesday morning, getting ready for a Thanksgiving matchup in the semifinals.
Absolutely. And first thing I want to go into also, we'll talk about the win over Anderson County. We'll talk about all the stats, all the players to highlight. But the beautiful thing about making it to the semifinals is the rarity of being able to practice on Thanksgiving. And you've been given that opportunity this week after your 28-21 win over Anderson County. So how blessed are you going into this week that you'll be able to practice on Thanksgiving?
Very blessed. This is a special football team. We've talked about that before. That, really proud of how hard they've played all year, but they continue. The bigger the game, the harder they're going to play, and really proud of that. And if, we can continue to play hard, you got an opportunity against a really tough team, but just glad to be in this, have this opportunity to play.
And only the 9th time the Greeneville's advanced to the semifinals now, and it's a big one too. You get Alcoa up ahead, so just mentioning that real quick here at the beginning. What's your mindset right now, 3 days before your semifinal matchup with Alcoa?
We got to continue to do the things we've done to get to this point. Had a really good day of practice yesterday, really good day in the weight room. And we got a lot of weather in here today, so we got to try to make the right decision what we're going to do today to make sure that we have another really good day. But before all that, we're going to have a good day in the weight room. Like we've talked before, we get into games like this. Anderson County's, Alcoa's, you better be in the best shape and the most physical you can be, and it all contributes back to how hard we're working in the weight room and all the things that Glenn Evatt and his staff do to keep our guys healthy. So we got to be at our best this week, so excited.
Take me through that Anderson County game from start to finish. What a thriller it was, from being up 21-7 to tied 21-21 to getting that go-ahead touchdown and then having to make a defensive stop. Take me through it from start to finish and what your emotions were.
First off, you got to talk about how this place was rocking.
Yes.
Hats off to the dang fans, man. That made a difference in the game. As loud as it's probably ever been that I've noticed it during a game at Burley Stadium. But, we got to have that same environment this Friday as well. But appreciate all the fans for making all the noise and all the different people that, got the different the horns and the
noise
clappers
makers,
and that goes a long way. And you could see a different energy in our guys when the fans are backing them like that. So appreciate all that for sure. But you start that game off, and we knew it was going. We talked to our guys. It's going to be a 4-quarter battle. You said it's going to be a heavyweight fight. They're going to take punches. We're going to have to punch back, and it's going to go back and forth. But like you said, we come out, we play, good football. had to punt a few times, and we're up 7-0 there. We start running the football, then we get them over to the top, and everybody's trying to double Zay, and it opens things up for somebody else to make a play. And Cole Franklin was able to make a big time play and run and get in the end zone, and he's been playing really good football for us here of late, or really all season, but really making some big plays when he gets opportunities. Like I said, everybody's game plan, and Coach Gillum made a big deal about it in his some of the things he was putting in the paper. They're not going to let Zayden Anderson beat you, so somebody else has got to step up and make plays when they get an opportunity. And Cole started off with us, we had a chance, back and forth, but it's 7-0 at halftime. And we told those kids, keep on fighting. We told you it's going to be a 4-quarter battle, and it was us. And then we challenged them 2 years ago. We're up 14-7 at halftime. We get the football, just the same thing. Let's go down and score. We scored last year and we get a penalty, but we were able to get it in there and just run the football. And offensive line played great, and we were able to win that line of scrimmage, I felt like. And they're having a hard time stopping our run, so we just felt like that was the best thing, give us the opportunity to win the football game. So we were able to just keep on running the thing. And we had a point there late in the third quarter with a few seconds left. We're going to run that thing in for hopefully a touchdown. We fumbled the ball. It would have been hopefully a 28-7 point, and it really would have put the game out of reach. But hats off to Anderson County. They get a turnover there, then they keep on fighting, get in the beat us on 2 deep balls there, and it's 21-21, and we got the ball back. Less than 2 minutes. I told those guys, let's just go score and win the football game. And they took it down there and put it in the end zone and to cap off a big game. And then we were able to get a big-time pick to seal the game by Terran Clarity. But what a great effort. What a great environment. It's what you want quarterfinal games to be right there.
Absolutely, and it was exactly what I think everybody built it up to be too. And the excitement was there, the energy was there, and something else that was there was probably in the back of their minds how their season ended last year. I know a lot of coaches don't like the word revenge, but I know a lot of coaches like the word avenge. You avenged that loss last year in Anderson County that ended your season, and those seniors got to right that wrong. So how special was it for them to be able to beat a team like Anderson County that ended their seasons last year and move on to only the 9th semifinal in Greeneville Greene Devil history?
You can see how special it was at the end of the game, how excited everybody was, and those kids and fans and everything. But it was a football game. Everybody's picking us to get beat, to be honest. There's not many people picking us to win against Anderson County. Had a ton of transfers, multiple Division I players on that football team. Really proud of defensively how well we stopped their running game. They're averaging over 200 yards. That one kid, he was a 2,000-yard rusher on the year. And, we're able to held him, I think, to like 78 yards rushing, which was really big. We were flying around, making a lot of plays, getting to the football. Young quarterback, but he's going to be a special one. And, already got Division I offers, and you see why. And, we were, for the most part, that first half we played really good and, in the secondary. And, you got to try to get pressure on him. We're manning some guys up and beat us a couple times. But when you're playing good teams, it's they're going to get their opportunities. You just got to bounce back and get yours. And I was really proud of our effort on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, the defense allowed a lot more yards than they're used to, 427 in total, but to still keep them to 21 and to have a few things go your way too, like having them turn the ball over on 4th down a few times. How much did that benefit you, and how happy were you with your defensive effort, knowing that you still allowed a lot more yards than you're used to, but still to be able to keep them off the scoreboard and limit Jason Thompson to what you did?
Yeah, they're going explosive offense like that. They beat Alcoa. They
hard to do.
They're undefeated when the Gillum kid is playing quarterback for the whole game. And, they got beat by Gibbs earlier in the year, but, Gillum didn't play in that game, so it's a totally different offense. And they got back into their rhythm, what they were doing. But to hold a Division I running back, one of the best running backs that we faced in a long time, to what we did, really proud of that effort. And one thing we got to make sure and talk about is Cole Franklin. What a great job he did kicking the football, changing some field position for them, making them drive that long field. And how we play defense. It's hard to go, 80 or 90 yards and put it in the end zone. I feel like they'll go get a first down here or there, but we can get off the field on third down. If we get an opportunity somewhere, it's hard to go that full length of field on our defense right now.
And while we're talking about the topic of defense, too, let's go through some of your defensive leaders, too. Going through my list here, it's all jumbled up, so I don't really know which player to go to first because I don't know if you really had a main standout player, but when you go through tackles, man, Maddox Bishop was everywhere playing safety on Friday night.
Yeah, he did a real good job. We talked about, 2 years ago, we didn't do a good job of stopping them running to that weak side. We really stressed on that during practice. And, I don't know that they got any big plays because Maddox is getting down there. That single side corner is coming up to help on the run there, which, was really big when they couldn't do the things that they wanted to do, had to go to something else. It was really good for our defense to be able to limit what they wanted to do and make them, change their game plan.
Yeah, and Maddox had 8 tackles in total with a TFL and a pass breakup. I know we didn't talk about Zayden Anderson on the offensive side of things, but on defense, 4 tackles and 2 assists. Kane Ricker back there in the secondary also. 4 tackles, 2 pass breakups, and an interception that was reversed. So how happy were you? We'll talk about Taryn Clarity, of course, also next. But how happy were you with your secondary in total?
Really proud of that group. Like you said, we did something we've not done all year. We were flip-flopping Zay and Taryn to put Zay on. We put Zay on their top receiver, and Zay got banged up there a little in the second quarter. We stopped doing it, and as a result, they got a play or two there in the third, and then we flipped it back in the fourth, and shut him down. Zero's a big-time player and making plays all year for them. I think he was over 1,000-yard receiver, and Zay shut him down. And not many people's talking about how good he played on defense, but played a big-time game on defense for us. And we're gonna have the same thing this week against Alcoa. He's got a big-time challenge in their receivers, but really proud of him. Kane did a good job coming up. Got a little too aggressive on a couple of them and let them get behind us on a few, but. He got a great interception, was called off for a defensive pass interference, but great break on the ball there. But really proud of that secondary for sure.
And then Taryn Clarity, he's got to get his own segment. He's been getting his own segment for weeks on weeks now, and another great game. 5 tackles, a tackle for loss, 2 pass breaks, 2 pass breakups, and that game-clinching interception that everybody knows about. We've talked about it over and over and over this year. He's become a big-time player that produces big-time moments, and when you needed it most towards the end of the game, you needed a big-time player to produce a big-time moment. Taryn was there.
Yeah, like I said, we had that opportunity to shut them out there after a turnover, and we give up a deep ball, and it was on Taryn for a touchdown. And told him to keep his head up. You're gonna have to make a play during the game sometime to make a difference, and that's what he did at the end of the game. He had a chance to get that pick, got the pick. He didn't have a ton of yards. We didn't get the ball to him either on offense very much. Like I said, we were able to run the football, and when we can run like that, we're gonna stick to that plan. And also, it keeps their offense off the field. So. He played a tremendous job on defense and just kept on playing, like I said, for 4 quarters, get an opportunity at the game. We scored, they got a little time to do something, and we're able to get a pick was big.
And then let's talk about Jude Dyer. We'll talk about his offensive stats and combine those together. 5 rushes, 54 yards, and a touchdown. That touchdown going from 38 yards out, but on defense, 5 tackles, and on special teams, he had that big blocked punt. I know it didn't result in any points, but still, when you get to this point in the season, special teams is so important, and for him to come through and block one and almost block another, he had a huge night on all sides of the ball on Friday.
Yeah, a tremendous player, done a lot of things for us this year. Ran the ball really hard the other night, and he playing really good defense as well. Flying around, making a lot of tackles. Jude's a great young man that does all the things right, and really proud of him for the success he's had for this football team.
And we talked about Cole Franklin already, 3 receptions, 116 yards and a touchdown. That big 79-yard receiving touchdown really broke things open. And when Tate Russell talked to him after the game, he asked him about that play, and it was one of those things where I think the coaches said, you need to get down there because they're doubling Zay, of course, if somebody needs to break free and make a big play. And I think Caden saw him break open towards the middle of the field, connected, and nobody caught him on his way to the end zone. Going into the halftime 7-0, how important was it to get that big play and connect on that, to go into the halftime with that lead that would ultimately decide the game.
Yeah, a game changer right there. We scored in that first half. We're up 7-0. Would have loved to see us get another shot in the end zone. Had some big runs that were called back because of some holding penalties. But, then you get the football coming out. And for us to get up, and then you go up 14-0, it was really big for our football team to be at. They got to battle, do things they don't want to do, and just, kind of limit that they're going to try to throw the football. And, we were able to, they get some points there. And, like I said, it's going to be a 4-quarter battle against a really good football team. And just proud that we were able to come out on top.
And then I've got 2 left. I've saved the best 2 for last. Caden Ball. Great game from a senior quarterback in what could have potentially been his last game at Burley Stadium. He goes 6 of 9, 118 yards passing, a touchdown, 17 rushes for 141 yards, and a rushing touchdown. He was the quarterback last year whenever you go down to Anderson County and had your season ended in the quarterfinals. You turn around this year and end Anderson County's season in the quarterfinals at home with Caden at quarterback. How special of a moment was that for him to be able to avenge that loss from last year and have the great game that he had?
He probably didn't play his best football in the first half, and talk to him. You're gonna have to step up and play a better half, and he played one of the better halves he's played in the second half, which was what we needed to win that football game. And he ran the football really hard there. Had some chances to make some plays throwing the football in the first half that we missed, but. Talk to him, said it's going to take your best effort for us to win in that second half, and challenge some other guys to step up. And Caden did a tremendous job for us in that second half. High expectations for him, obviously, and not that he played a bad first half, but, he could play better. And the coaches talked to him about that, and, got his best effort in that second half.
Saving the best for last, man. Tegan Begley, what a game. Nobody expected this to be Tegan Begley's game, but I think throughout the year he had 12 rushes for 102 yards. This game he has 21 rushes, 114 yards with that game-sealing touchdown from 26 yards out, and then on defense 3 tackles with 2 assists and a pass breakup. You were kind of hiding him up your sleeve a little bit. You gave him the full ability to run the ball on Friday night, and man, what a difference maker Tegan was in the biggest game of the year.
Yeah, it's been, running back by committee all year.
Yeah.
And, how we've kind of done the second half, whoever's got the hot hand. Jude had the hot hand against Upperman there in the second half, and we let him ride a little more. Maddox had the hot hand against, I think, Sevier County there. He get the majority of the carries, but just how the game was going, Tegan got an opportunity, made the most of it in that first half, and we felt like, he's a big, strong, physical guy running the football. We got really good speed, and it's hard to handle. So we felt like we were going to let him spin it a few more times, and he didn't let us down.
And just the way he runs the ball too, just the aggressive type of bruising back that he is. What's your favorite style of running back? Is it kind of like Tegan does? Is it kind of a speedster like Jude? What's your favorite type of running back right there?
For me, for this program, for the success we've had, you look back on all the big-time running backs that's been here since, I've been a part. The ones that you got to love are those ones that are dang, I love them all, but the ones that are dang
physical.
And all 3 of our guys right now are dang physical. Some are, 2 of them are smaller than, Tegan for sure, but they're all dang physical, tough, strong running backs. That's the top backs I love, Never really had a finesse running back too much here, but those physical guys that when it gets on the line, they're going to run somebody over to get in the end zone. That's the kind of guys I love.
Type of running backs that it hurts to get out of bed on Saturday mornings. Going through the offensive stats too, in total 440 yards of offense, 113 passing, and then 327 rushing. You get that 28-21 win over Anderson County in the quarters. Now it's on to the semis for only the 9th time in Greeneville High School history, and you get Alcoa now, the matchup that I think everybody wants to see, who some are coining the potential state championship matchup. It's number 1 Greeneville, it's number 2 Alcoa. It'll be here at Burley Stadium on Friday night. We'll talk about it in just a minute, though. We need to get a word in from our sponsors first, so don't go anywhere. We'll talk about that here in just a minute here on First Horizon's Green Sports Zone.
Here's a twist on your typical banking options. What if, instead of choosing between a big bank or a small bank, you had one bank that's the best of both? That's First Horizon. Big bank muscle with small bank hustle. Big bank convenience and small bank connection. When the best of big meets the best of small, you get it all. To help you on the road to your horizon. First Horizon Bank.
Pizza Inn presents I Ate at Pizza Inn. I ate pizza at Pizza Inn. I ate a salad at Pizza Inn.
I ate pizza!
I ate it all.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and I'm inviting you to come and enjoy Greeneville's favorite hometown pizza, pasta, salad, and dessert buffet for just $8 all day, Monday through Friday. And then you can say,
we all ate at Pizza Inn.
Tommy's Plumbing has been in business for 30 years, and we're still growing because we treat our customers like family. We are proud to do any job from kitchen faucet installation to a complete home repipe. Tommy's Plumbing offers warranties on most products installed by our technicians. When the job is done, our friendly professionals make sure to clean up. We invite you to visit our new showroom in Jonesboro to see our quality products for yourself. Tommy's is the only one to call when you need a fast, reliable, professional plumber in the Tri-Cities.
At many dealerships, you get what you'd expect. Games, gimmicks, and shady sales tactics. At Gateway Nissan in Greeneville, expect the unexpected. Low prices, convenient service, and a great buying experience.
Get our Gateway exclusive lifetime powertrain warranty.
No worries for life.
You deserve the unexpected. It's the #1 reason you gotta get to Gateway.
Shop online at gatewaynissangreeneville.com.
Or take the super short drive down Highway 11E to Gateway Nissan in Greeneville.
Welcome back to First Horizon's Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Pizza and Eddie Spradlen Show, where we cover everything inside a beautiful Burley Stadium with the Greeneville Greene Devil football team. So let's talk about Alcoa this week. We looked it up during the break. I was wrong. It's #1 versus #1. Maybe the only time I've ever seen that happen. There's a tie at first place atop the Class 4A standings now between Greeneville and Alcoa. It comes down to Friday night inside of Burley Stadium in the Class 4A semis. What's it going to take to get it done?
It's going to be a state championship type game. You know, two of the best teams in 4A and two of the better teams in the state of Tennessee, I feel like, are playing each other in the semifinal game. Wouldn't you love to see this game in the state championship game?
Yes.
But it's what it's going to be on Friday, and you know it's going to take a great effort by our football team against a really talented team that had to slip up and got beat by 1 point. But it's going to take our best effort, and they were able to beat a really good Upperman team. Upperman back and forth with them. At one point, Upperman's up 21-14 late in the that first quarter or second quarter, and then they let them score at half, and I think it's either 28-21 or 21-21 at halftime in that game. But Upperman battled back and forth, and turnovers killed them in that game. So, and you gonna win a game against that football team, you can't turn the football over. You got to limit those big plays that they're able to get. So, Alcoa presents a big time challenge, but glad to have this opportunity to play in this game, and our kids are excited. So that's what it's all about.
How awesome is it to have a potential state championship game here inside of Burley Stadium?
Yeah.
That's something that you usually don't ever see. How special is it to have it here in your hometown?
Yeah, you get this type of game this year, and you don't have to travel in Burley Stadium. Fans, we got to have that same excitement and energy that we had this past Friday in here, and probably be a few more people because there's no games around here. So a lot of people come in town for Thanksgiving to come to coming to the game. So big time environment. Looking forward to it. Excited about this opportunity. We've got 2 more really good days of practice. Then we'll have a special day on Thanksgiving. All fans, we're going to practice that morning about 9 o'clock. Former players are always invited to come down there. Parents, whoever wants to come down, watch some.
I believe the turkey trot goes on.
Yeah, a little turkey trot goes on before it. We're going to go turkey trot finishes up. We'll go right out on the field. So, be an exciting day for sure. It's always a special day when you can practice a little football on Thanksgiving.
Absolutely, and Alcoa is going to bring a big crowd because you saw them bring a big crowd 2 years ago on a Thursday night. So if you've seen them have a big crowd on a Thursday night, they'll have a big crowd on a Friday night in the semifinals. So we'll go ahead and get it out of the way. We say it every week, get here early. Get here early if you want a spot, or it'll be standing room only. We expect it to already be standing room only on Friday night. So get here and get a ticket and get seated when the gates open and watch a big-time football matchup between Greeneville and Alcoa on Friday night. But let's talk about both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively for Alcoa. Peeked in at the stats, they're pretty similar. You all have about the same offensive yards and allow about the same defensive yards. Pretty evenly matched on both sides of the ball, it seems. Tell me what you expect to see from Alcoa's offense and defense.
You know, defensively, they're going to be a lot of times in the 3 front. You know, they play a 5 safety or 5 across shell in the secondary stuff, and you know, depends on what, you know, against running teams, they're going to get another guy down in there in the box. So we got to be able to establish the run game against them. Our guys winning up front. You know, upper one's able to run the football on them, and sometimes, but really talented defense. A lot of those skill guys that got some Division I offers are playing, you know, receiver and in the secondary for them. So got a big offensive lineman that's a Texas Tech commit. So presents a big time challenge offensively and defensively. But you know, I think they're going to come. They lost their starting running back a couple of weeks ago. You know, but it's been some. You know, they played a lot of guys because that guy was a starting corner as well. But they played a lot of guys in that backfield all year. So you know, we come in here going to try to run the football, but you know, the quarterback is what's made them go this year, throwing the football. So we got to kind of find ways to make him feel uncomfortable, get pressure on him, and you know, they're going to throw the football, and we got to be able to respond to it.
And before you go into this game also, if you were to win the game on Friday night, would this go up there as one of the most special wins in Greeneville football history, knowing that it sends you to the state championship game and it ends Alcoa's reign of 10 state championships in a row?
You know, I don't know that, you know, all that obviously means a lot to a lot of people, but you know, there's been a lot of special wins in this program long before I was ever part of this program. I've been here since you know, 2007, but there's been a lot of wins during that time that are awful special. But you know, it'll be you know, always, you know, for sure, if we can win that game, one that people will remember for sure. But you know, it gives us another opportunity to go play for a state championship. You know, it's not happened many times in Greeneville football history. So you win a game, excuse me, you win a game to be able to do that, a lot of people's going to remember it for sure.
Would it be one of your most special wins as a head coach?
Yeah, it would be a special one for sure. But you know, it's going to take a tremendous effort by our football team. It'll be another 4-quarter game, but a game that we're excited about and blessed to be able to play in this game.
I think you mentioned one of these before already, but you've got 3 keys to the game as always that we talk about at the end of every interview. Going into the semifinal matchup against Alcoa this week, number 1 versus number 1, you've got 3 keys to the game that you need to carry out in order to get that win and go to the state title game. What are they?
You know, 1, we've got to be able to establish our running game against them. You know, we've got to be able to win that line of scrimmage with our offensive line. You know, we're big, physical offensive line, and we got to continue to do that in this type of game. And another key there, you know, our playmakers got to make plays on offense. We got to get them the ball, and they get an opportunity to whatever it is. If it's, you know, catching the football, running the football, whatever it is that we're going to feel like we can have success at, you know, those guys got to make plays in this game. It's going to be tough plays, really talented football team, but when you get an opportunity to make a play, you got to make it. I'm not saying it's got to be for a touchdown or whatever, but convert 3rd downs, 2nd downs, whatever it is, we got to be able to make big time plays. 3rd one's got to be defensively. You know, we get the same thing. We got to continue to win the line of scrimmage. You know, limit their run game and make them. They're probably going to go to the air as much as anybody we've seen. You know, like last week, very similar. Can't give up deep balls. Can't give up big plays in a game like this. You know, they're going to convert some big plays, and they're going to probably get in the end zone. But you know, we got to limit the time that they are able to get those big plays and get in the end zone. You know, and 4th, obviously, special teams was big last week. You know, we got to continue to do that, and we got to continue to play for 4 quarters. No matter what happens, it's going to be a 4-quarter game.
I figured you'd throw in turnovers in that.
Yeah, we got to get some dang turnovers.
So 5 keys this week.
Yeah, we got to get turnovers, and you can't turn the football over in this type game. against a team like that, if you turn it over, you watch the games that that they've been close to, and turnovers. They have good teams that they've played. They've beat them because they turned the football over. Last week, Red Bank turned it over for them, give it to them in the red zone multiple times. Against Upperman, they fumbled twice in that first half, and stopped themselves. The only 2 times that Upperman didn't score in that first half was when they fumbled the football. So you can't turn it over in games like this.
The more important the games, the more keys we get from Coach Eddie Spradlen. 5 keys to the game this week.
Hey, you added that one for me.
There we go. 5 keys to the game this week as Greeneville takes on Alcoa on Friday night in the Class 4A semifinals. It'll be here at Burley Stadium, so get in when the gates open. I think you can purchase tickets ahead of time on gofan.com. The game will be at 7 o'clock here at Burley on Friday night, unless there's anything else you've got to add. I believe that's all, Coach.
Love to have that same energy and excitement in the stadium. Appreciate it last week. Looking forward to it this week.
Absolutely. That's all we got this week. Thank you once again, Coach. Enjoy being here in the media room. It's a little warm outside. We could still be out there, but
it's a little
something
wet
about
out there.
It is. That's true.
We've been in here for the playoffs. I don't want to switch that up.
That's true. I'm a superstitious person too. So hey, my favorite saying in life: if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Oh yeah.
But that's all we got this week. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Pizza and Eddie Spradlen Show. Look forward to seeing you next time here on First Horizon's Green Sports Zone.